Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of the amazing collection from Penguin. Penguin Classics Marvel Collection. Captain America, Spider-Man and the Black Panther. Volume 1, 2 and 3. Hopefully at some point there will be volume 4, 5, 6, etc. I assume Fantastic Four, Avengers. There's references to them in the book, so at some point I assume they will turn up. Let's just go through Spider-Man first. They're all just come out. They should be still easily in print. I hope, because they're Penguin Classics, they will remain in print for many years and many years beyond that as well. And about 380 pages, don't include everything. Though Black Panther does include a complete run of stories. This doesn't. This includes quite a lot of nice runs, but it's also got some essays in between. Also, it doesn't include the classic annual, which is a pity, because one of my favourite stories, the annual. But it does, it's just quality. And they're all exactly the same. They all follow a similar format. You've got sort of essays at the front, you've also got references at the back, you've got a few bits of bonus material, nothing as much as say the omnibus or epics, but still very, very nice. But the paper stock is just beautiful and the quality not glossy in any shape or form. So you've got really, it's not like the old, obviously the actual comics, it's not scanned from the comics, but still at the same time not being glossy means it just looks so much nicer. It's probably about the best they've ever been done, other than of course the Taschen one. The Taschen volume are amazing but incredibly expensive, whereas these are reasonably affordable. I'm not saying they're the cheapest. You can get the paperbacks. Paperbacks are available for these. I think they're slightly smaller. I think it's just subtly smaller. Obviously not the lovely red there, but they still look amazing and I say more affordable. But you've got Amazing Fantasy, you've got the cover, the classic cover, of course, and the story itself. You've introduced to all the characters, obviously Flash, etc. Actually, Flash looks quite different, doesn't he, when you actually see him there. I really hadn't really looked at him like that before. When you see him later, he doesn't look like that. But Liz, etc. And then it's obviously Peter Parker there in the background with that Spidey there. Brilliant. However, this also includes the other stories that come with Amazing Fantasy, which is a really nice touch. It's one of the things I think that's really good about this. But also it does show a bit of the slight weakness in the material compared, because you can actually see, no, you probably can't see it on this, but the artwork is a bit rougher than, say, the Captain America one. The Captain America and Black Panther, the material, obviously, the source material is a lot sharper, a lot nicer. This does have a bit of roughness that is noticeable in places. Not every time, but it's just, you look at some of the writing, you think, slightly more coarse than perhaps it could be. But there's old Spidey and Jameson, of course, and I love him when he goes there and tries to do his check about Spider-Man. Just make the check out to Spider-Man. Yeah, a bit tricky that. Maybe he could have thought up, maybe haven't set himself up a company. That would have been... No, but then of course there would be reference to Company's House, wouldn't there? To Spy. Anyone could connect the two. Though at the same time, it's ridiculous anyway. At times that Spidey was unmasked as Peter Parker and no one sort of said, well, you know, maybe he's Peter Parker. Spoiler, there, he's Peter Parker. But it's got some great classic Vulture story. I love the Vulture story. Doc Ock, of course. Good old Doc Ock there. Before he turns into... Alone, I'm able to make it my servant, he says, and obviously he's slightly, and Sandman, of course. Lots of radioactivity stories early on. Well, obviously Spidey as well, of course. But you've got these stories, you've got the covers, but you've got these essays. And, I mean, which is nice. It doesn't need to include all the story, but it just gives a bit of detail about, and you can see obviously a little bit of the, there, Betty Brant. And then on to the next story with Electro, Enforcers, Green Goblin, etc. I love him when he's doing movies. There were also quite a few stories where he was like movies were involved as well. Fantastic Four, of course, did that movie one with Submariner. However, doesn't include the annual, but it does include this, the appendix at the back, Linda Brown, which is really nice because you've got Aunt May and Ben. However, it is a prototype, but it's not really, because at the end of the day, there's a twist at the end. So unless we're not being told something in Spider-Man, it would not be likely they're the same characters. But still, it is nice to actually have a goodbye to Linda Brown. It's a nice inclusion anyway. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And of course you've got some bits of the annual, just a little bit, but I think it's one of the best bits. I love that when they were showing how to draw it. I always love the sort of simple sketch, and then you of course get the complex sketch at the end. You can do it very easily like that as well. No, I don't think so. But it's cover stories, and you of course got the classic covers. There's a bit, like I say, bonus material, not much. I personally think that's just a great cover as well, just as much as that one. I mean, that would have sold it to me. Though maybe the reason I assume, and I make, it does look a bit more cluttered. That's possibly the reason it was not included. In the end, they didn't use that one. That looks a lot cleaner. And I've always wondered about those streaks. Is he sort of going whizzing across? Is it sort of whizzing? I don't know. Maybe they thought they better put those sort of, to me it looks like comets going or something, meteorites going in the background, you think. But that's, I hadn't really noticed that before, streaks going across it. Really noticeable in this. And that's the thing about this paper thing. Sometimes when you've got a glossy page, you don't spot things in the same way. But when you look at it like this, you think, and in many ways, it's a bit like the original Fantastic Four cover as well, because of course you've got all the buildings and you've got the people looking down at the character. An important message inside. But it's just great. And it's got some references back, which is very nice. So let's go to the Black Panther one. This one is superb and unusual. I'm surprised they didn't go for the big hitters, the obvious ones, Thor, Iron Man maybe, but they went for Black Panther. I mean, Black Panther's a great character. Obviously, you've got the film coming out, I assume, Black Panther 2 at some point. So it's a great choice. And this also is slightly different from the other ones. This is quite, because it includes a whole run of stories, whereas all the others do have gaps. This does include, but again, absolutely brilliant quality. I love that it also mentions here about Warren's publishing black and white magazines, Creepy, Eerie and Vampirella. Gets a mention right at the top, which is very nice. So you've got there, Black Panther and Series and Trust. And it gives a lot of detail, a lot of information that I did not know. So it's really quite fascinating. So definitely worth reading through these. And you can certainly get a sort of idea for the stories before you actually get to the stories themselves. But it also includes, now there might be actually, and I probably haven't noticed it, a reference to why they haven't included the Avengers one. Because they included the Fantastic Four, 52. So they got that. And the quality is superb. Really, really sharp, really great stories. Again, the source material obviously really helps there. But you've got incredible realm of the big... Of course, at this point, we don't know if he's a villain or hero. Obviously, it's introduced there. They're sort of like running away. It looks like they're running away. So we don't know at this point. Obviously, we learn later about the rest. But it's still, they got the next issue as well. But they don't include anything about the Avengers, which is odd. Nor the Captain America story with Black Panther, which is a bit odd as well. Just seems odd that they missed those out. You've got the Claw story, but not the Man-Ape story, or at least just an essay about it. Would have been really nice to include that. However, you got Panther's Rage. That was a storyline that continued for quite a bit. So you've got Jungle Action, and that starts with issue 6. Remember buying it? Bought quite a few of the Jungle Action comics, and I didn't keep them, unfortunately. But they were still good stories, and it's really quite nice to actually read it here because it's nice to see all the flow of the story. Quite often when I'm collecting these things, often I would buy like issue 10 and I would buy like issue 15 or something. So you didn't really get a nice flow of the story because they didn't always turn up, of course. So, you know, you suddenly go down the shops and you couldn't find it and you think, okay. And of course, it's only later you can pick up a copy and so it's all out of order. And for some weird reason, and I just suddenly thought about it, I'm not certain they reprinted these in the UK. Did they do? Please put in the comments below if someone. I never bought Black Panther comic books, the UK ones. Just weird. Just suddenly thought about that. Why didn't they include those? However, you got the covers, which is great. There are no reprints. None of the back. There's a bit of a reference to that as well in there, and all the, of course, Lorna and etc. from the 1950s. Jungle Action, Black Panther there, Devil Wolves from the Chilling Mist. I remember buying that. That was a great issue. That Killmonger. He's back! Killmonger! Superb. Beautiful artwork all the way through. Again, doesn't include huge amounts of bits and pieces all the way through, which is, of course, different from the other ones. But still, you've got a Ku Klux Klan story. However, it's really quite noticeable. You've got the Marvel Masterworks at the back. Again, very useful to they include this because it gives a lot of background detail. And you think, you know what, that's interesting, didn't realise that. But you can see by the font that's used by Penguin, just amazing, just beautiful font all the way through. But this, it's noticeable, they haven't changed it. They've just gone for the same as it was, as far as I remember, the Marvel Masterworks font, and it's not so nice. You can really see the difference when a good font is used. Somehow the page looks amazing. This just looks wrong when you look at it like this. Maybe that's just me looking at it from design. But however, it also includes this, which is very nice. And I don't know if these were included in the epics. I assume they were. Omnibuses maybe. Is there a Black Panther omnibus? I haven't seen that either. No idea. There might be. But you've got there. Really quite nice. And I love reading these because you sort of think, oh, that's interesting. You know, why does the artist do certain things? Why do they choose certain things in the story? We open on a pair of eyes, etc., etc. So how would you work that? And so that's a great thing when you've got scripts. I would love to see books of all of the Marvel scripts, as many as, of course, that have been. I wonder how many, if you could bring out an omnibus edition of Marvel scripts. That would be brilliant. Massive 1,000-page one of all the scripts. Just be fascinating to look at and see why they made certain choices. Also, of course, sometimes what you see is the artists do breakdowns where you can see the very roughs and things. Always fascinating to see sort of how they just lay it out and how they change their mind later on or move things around. Characters are, but still, Black Panther collections. You've got lots of things. Oh, let's see. So you've got here the Black Panther one, the complete collection. Got Black Panther, Rise of Black Panther. No reference to an omnibus. I was trying to think, I can't. Not so, anyway. You got some references at the back. I'm surprised actually Penguin, normally with annotations, they would go for full-on annotations, but there's only a brief little bit there. But I love, they're all the same. Look at that. I just love it. I hope they continue that format. I mean, one trouble is sometimes when books come out omnibus and things comes to mind, they just change the format. So you get, so on your bookshelf, it's nice that they've got that. And hopefully they keep the same format all the way through. Once they've decided, trouble is sometimes, of course, is the length. When they bring out Guardians of the Galaxy one, you've always got a problem. How do you squeeze Guardians of the Galaxy on? You have to change it. And there's always then at that point, it ruins the sort of nice flow of it. Anyway, a minor point, but of course, if you want them all nicely on your bookshelf, of course, the stories are the things that matter. Captain America. This one is slightly different from the other ones. They've all got slight quirks in them, which is quite really good. You've got all these stories introduction, and you've got quite a lot of stories, but not all the stories. There are gaps. So you can go here, 75, and then suddenly you'll notice there's a gap. Fighting Acrobat, 82 to 91, not included. And, yeah, 96 to 99, 100 to 109, not included as well. So you've got little essays for those. And that was the one with the Black Panther, which was quite surprising. I think it was 97. So you got, of course, the classic Cosmic Cube story. I love, again, the essays are great. But this also includes a Golden Age one. And I suspect that we will not get vast numbers of Golden Age stories in this classics collection. I would love to see a timely classics one. I also would love to see an artist one as well. That would be superb. But whether that, Bill Everett, Gil Kane, Neil Adams collection in this format would be amazing. Let's hope so. Got the Red Skull there, looking slightly different, and is, of course, revealed to be slightly different character. Unless he is the same character. Maybe he doesn't. Too weird a twist. But then we're forward here. Now, the weird thing is that they didn't include the story with the Human Torch that was in the Strange Tales, where Captain America comes back. Also, they don't include the Avengers story, issue 4, or some of the other Avengers stories. And it would have been nice if they'd included a little bit more of those. But there's a brief reference to them at the back. And you get a page or two of the Avengers. But not the Captain America, the prototype, I guess is the way to describe it. But you got, this really confused me when I bought, because I bought these and I couldn't understand why the stories were all set in the war. As if, they were actually the Golden Age stories. I didn't know. They're not the Golden Age stories, but it's just strange. And when I first got the comics, I thought, what's this? Why are all the stories set in the wartime? Mails of Suspense. Again, you've got checklists. I love that. and letters page. Always great. Astonish 66, Strange Tale 131, Avengers 14, X-Men 10, Thor 114. I love the way it said Thor 114. Never consistent. Sometimes it would like be Iron Man. They'd put Iron Man 81. Well, it's not Iron Man 81, but still Tales of Suspense 81. But must have been when you went down to shops looking for, oh, let's look for Iron Man 81. Doesn't exist. And of course, you got there the Red Skull and Captain America. You got the Cosmic Cube story, them. Of course, AIM or Hydra slash Secret Empire slash everyone else. They're virtually running everything, weren't they? And you got the Steranko stories. Like I said, there's quite a big gap. And then you got the classic Steranko story. Hulk looking the weirdest Hulk. Hulk is definitely unusual with Steranko, but still at the same time, great stories. I love those ones. Captain America's strange death of, again, lots of, the colours were something. That was always the thing about the Steranko. I loved that. The green, just amazing. The red as well. Absolutely. Even if sometimes the artwork, the drawings, some of the characters look really strange, like Thor and Iron Man. They look really odd. Look probably the slightest weirdest looking, but I love that use of like the multi-panels there for the Thor's hammer. Absolutely great. And then all the way through to the back. And you've got suggestions for further reading. And you've got here, this is the thing, they are. Penguin Classics Marvel Collection, Avengers 2021. Includes Cap's first America with the Avengers following the successful revival in 1964. So we assume, maybe, that Penguin Classics Avengers will be coming out at some point. Obviously not in 2021. That obviously didn't happen. So maybe 2023, 2024, hopefully. But I just love these. I will be getting the other volumes. I am looking forward to all the others. Are they all equally brilliant? The Spider-Man one, maybe not so much for me because I've got it so many times. I've got it in different formats. Great. Black Panther, I love it because I haven't got the stories. So that's quite nice. And they're really good stories. And Captain America, which I just think is just beautiful, even if it doesn't. But it includes the Steranko, which I love. Some of my favourites. Absolutely good. So 3 brilliant volumes. Looking forward to the subsequent volumes to come out from Penguin. So totally recommended series of books. Oh, there is also a paperback collection as well. So if you don't want to spend, as I said, pointing out price, you can see the prices there. Now, of course, you can probably find them a bit cheaper than that on various, obviously, well-known sites. However, you can also find the paperback one, and they're a bit cheaper as well, though slightly smaller.